Hello guys, how are you guys doing? I'm here to show you how to do an application at the University of Global Health Equity for the medical school scholarship. So after opening your Google, I want you guys to type University of Global Health Equity. Global Health Equity. Yes, and then this is the page that is going to open. And from here, you can either go straight and click admissions or you admission for MBBS MGHD, or you can just go on UGHE admission. Any of the two, you can all be able to apply. So you can choose whichever you want. So let's go with the first option of choosing UGHE admission, and let us wait for the page to open. So this is the website opening, and as you see, there are two options. You can either come here straight and choose the admission and come to apply to UGHE, or you can scroll down and then see all the programs that are here at University of Global Health Equity, and then you choose the MBBS MGHD program because that's the program you're trying to apply for. Let's click here and wait for the page to open. And this is the page that is going to open. This is the page that has all the information that you need actually. You have the phases of the program. It talks about the actual program. It also talks about some of the eligibility criteria, the same criteria as I talked about in my video last time. And as you can see, but for you to apply, you are going to scroll up and choose this option called submit your application. You click here, and this is the page that is going to open. This is actually the actual application portal, and you're going to start by registering yourself among the applicants. Let's take, for instance, a name, Jendo, the name you're going to be using. Let's say I don't have a middle name. If you have a middle name, please put in your middle name and then your last name or your surname or your family name. We say Del. And then for the email, I would advise you guys to use an email that you commonly use, the same email which they will be sending you information. They will be alerting you if you make it from the stage of the application, online application. If it's time for the exams, this is the same email they're going to tell you to use. So then go at gmail.com, and then you come here and you technically write the same email again. And then for the phone number, I advise you guys to add your country code. For Rwanda, it's a country code of 250. If you don't know your country code, please ask Google. Come on at Google and say maybe Malawi country code. If you don't know your country code, this is it. But I believe that you guys know your country code. There's absolutely no way you have a phone number and you don't know your country code. But if you don't, please ask Google and then add the rest of your phone number and everything else. Okay. And then after this, you're going to come here and click Start Application. This is where you click. And after clicking Start Application, you are going to receive an email like this one from, open your email, you will find in your inbox an email like this one that says, thank you for starting an application with University of Global Health Equity. Click here to view your application. If you don't find this email, please, I would advise you to open your spam and try to see if the email did not go on spam. For me, as you see, I have no spams, so my email came in the inbox, so I have it on the inbox, which makes life easy. So by the time you see it here in your inbox, just click here to view your application. And let's start the application. So this is the application portal opening, and as you see, it starts with a little bit of a small summary of what the program is about. I know some of you guys are so excited and you're just going to open this without even reading anything, but at least let's read the summary of the program. So thank you for your interest in the Bachelor's of Medicine, Bachelor's of Surgery, Master's of Science in Global Health Delivery, Integrated Degree Program at University of Global Health Equity in Butare, Rwanda. The program is 6.8 years, so it's 80 months in total. Dual integrated medical degree program that integrates medical humanities, social sciences, biomedical sciences, clinical education, care, mentored internship, innovation such as simulation and laboratory-based teaching, area exposure to research, community-based education, and the rest of everything else. But that's a quick summary. And as you see on the instructions, please, you are only allowed to submit one application. using one email. So please don't waste your time trying to create multiple emails and to apply multiple times. It will be better for you to stick on the instructions. And as you see, the deadline of the application is on January 16th, 2026 at 5 p.m. CAT. So please, as I said before, though we are opening this application, you don't have to submit immediately after doing this application. You can always come back to your email and click here to view application, and it opens this page and you continue where you were. Let me show you an example. Let's say here I'll write my name as Jane, and then my family name as Theo. And then with the date I was born, let's say I just mentioned can say I'm just, it's a random thing I'm creating. This is not necessarily true. But let's say I just give September 30th, 2025, and then I close this and I go back to the email. If I click here to view your application, everything I have written here is saved. As you see, it says saved. So you don't have to worry about filling all this information at the same time. They save your application. So please here put in your name and then the date you were born, and then here you can put in your age. Let's say random age of 20. This is just things I'm creating for you guys. And then your identity. You can either say you are female, male, or if you have a different gender identity, you can put in other, or you say prefer not to answer. It's all your choice. You can put in whatever you want. And then you go to the part of answering your national ID or passport number. So for people who are Rwandans, you are going to put in here your national ID. But for people who are non-Rwandans, please only provide your passport number. You don't have to put in your national ID. So I'm referring to everybody else who is not Rwandan, including the people with refugee status who are from other countries, not Rwanda. If you don't have a passport, please look for a passport because you need it for this application. And then here you're going to come here and put in the date, specific date which your passport is going to expire in. Let's say if I have a passport of 123, let's say a 123, and here my passport is ending in, let's say in 2026, January 9th. And then here you put in your personal email. I would advise you to use the same email which you added before, then do@email.com. And then for your phone number, remember again, add your country code and everything else follows. And then you come here to the current address. This is the current address which you are in by the time you are completing this application. And then remember, as the instructions are saying, if you are currently residing outside of Rwanda, first you change the country before completing other fields. So remember, if you're residing outside of Rwanda, you're going to put in the country which you're residing in. But then if you're currently in Rwanda, please, it's Rwanda. But if you're not in Rwanda, let's say maybe I'm in Malawi. Example, I just put Malawi and then I put in the information of the country which I'm in. So you firstly have to change the country. Yes. So, and then you come here to the name of the home district. So for people in Rwanda, let's say I'm in Rwanda, I can put in Gasabo as an example of a district which I could be in, the country citizenship, and then I say that I have a Rwandan citizenship. And then if you have a second citizenship, you can put it here. Maybe you have a Canadian citizenship, or you have like a Malawian citizenship. Oh my God, today I like Malawi. I don't know why I keep getting and using it as an example. But let's say you have a second citizenship, and then where you are residing currently, it might be different from where you live, but the country of your residence right now. So there is a possibility that maybe I live in Rwanda, but I'm currently residing in Malawi. But let's say for this example, I'm residing in Rwanda, and then you come to another country that asks about your living situation. Here they're trying to understand the socio-economic status of you. You can either say for the people who are refugees from either any African country, or they're refugees in Rwanda, you put in the refugee. And if you are living in an urban accommodation with family, like in the city, capital city, any other minor city, please, you can put it urban accommodation. If you are living in the countryside, you can add on living in an informal settlement, and then you could be also a person applying this. You have already established in life, you are doing your undergraduate degree, you are self-funded and living alone. You can put it independent. You are no longer living with family. So this is going to depend to your current situation. And then are you a refugee? You can either say yes or no. If you answer yes, you are going to come here and clarify your refugee or asylum ID. If you don't know this, please ask your parents or your legal guardian, because everybody who is identified as a refugee in a certain country is given a registration number. That's what you're going to put here. But as you see, this question is not really compulsory, but I would advise you, if you really said yes, to put in the registration number as at least a confirmation that you are actually a refugee. And then you can mention the country or name of the camp which you are in. Let's say you are in Mahama camp in Rwanda, you put it here, Rwanda, Mahama. And then what is your native language? I can say Kinyarwanda as an example. You are going to put in your native language depending on the country you come from. And then have you previously applied for the program? You can either answer yes or no. Let's say I give it a yes. And then when, so you see some of the questions I've really answered before, that's why you're seeing answers. Please ignore it. Let's have applied it in 2021. And then here it is a question asking you about the discipline. So within the past 5 years, have you ever been disciplined for any academic performance or convicted for a felony? This could be like being on an academic probation, being dismissed, being suspended, being disqualified due to a poor academic performance or any discipline related thing. You can either say yes or no. If you say yes, here you have like a box to explain a little bit. Maybe you can say I stole a pen and I was dismissed. Or any other reason if there's something that happened to you. And please be wise while answering this, because this is an application. If it was a scenario that happened, you can elaborate more, but I believe that for the most of you guys, it's going to be a no. And how did you hear of the program? You could have heard it from the Isomo Academy program. You could have heard it through a conference, through a friend, visiting the website. For us, we actually visited the website, so we visited the website. This does not really have any effect on your application, so don't worry. And then here they're also trying to get into more details of your social economic and social support need. So where is your household related? So this is basically asking where is your home located? For the people who are still living at home, or whether you're living alone, where are you actually, your current household? Where are you living? And as you see, the question is asking, are you located in a rural area? Though it says rural urban, the first thing is rural. So it's basically, if you say a yes, you're saying yes to living in a rural area. If you say a no, you're saying no to a rural area. You can say other, and I don't know where that will be. you will be qualified, but it's either you are living in a rural area or you are living in an urban area. And then if you said yes, meaning you are living in a rural area, you will come here and elaborate. And maybe you can say, I am living, let's say for people in the refugee status, you can say in this specific area, if you are qualifying the specific area you're living in as a rural area. So you elaborate more here. But as you see, this question is not compulsory. Compulsory questions are the ones which have this thing, that have this lead asterisks. If the question does not have it, you don't have to answer it. As you see, this one is compulsory. They have to know where you're living. But then this is not compulsory, so it's okay for you not to really specify below if you don't want to. And then we go on the academic history. So they want to know whether there are people in your family who were able to go to school. So are you a first generation student? Meaning, are you the first person in your immediate family, between you, your siblings, and your grandparents, and your parents, to attend university? You can either say yes or no. If you say yes, here too, you have to come down and clarify who among your family member was able. If you say the yes, then then that would mean that you're the first person. If you say the no, sorry, you have to come here and then specify, if it's not you, then who was the first person to in your immediate family to attend university. I would advise you to put in the person who has like a higher degree, because they are going to be asking you here below. The next question is, what is the highest level of education? So it's possible that you might have more than one person. You might have your dad, your mom, your grandparents. You can choose one of them, whoever you want. Let's say I choose father. And then here on the highest degree, you can say education level they ever had. Maybe it was a PhD, let's say like a PhD in business, if that exists, but that's just a case scenario. But if you came here and answered that you are the first person, then you don't have to answer all of this, because it means you're the first person who is going to be going to university at your home. Okay, and then we come back here. We are going to be completing information about education, the education where we completed our A level or senior 6. You're going to put in the name of the high school which you went to, or the A level you went to, let's say, then high school, and then which district was it located in, let's say it was in Gasabo, and then Gasabo is in Kigali City. Yes. And then if you're a person, an international student, these are students from the other countries apart from Rwanda, you're going to come here and choose not applicable because my secondary schooling was outside of Rwanda. This for international students, but also for Rwandan people who studied in other countries. It's possible that you're Rwandan by nationality. Maybe you are currently, you just finished an undergraduate degree in nursing, you're eligible to apply, but you did let's say I don't know, your high school elsewhere, or you are a person applying here, but you did not study your high school in Rwanda, say, not applicable outside Rwanda, okay? And then if it was for people who completed outside of Rwanda, you are going to come here and specify where was that, the secondary school, province, or district outside of Rwanda. Yeah, whichever place, I don't know, here you put in the specific information of where you did school. And then you come here to the secondary school country. You're going to choose the country which you did your secondary school in. If it's not Rwanda, let's say, for example, choose Malawi. And then here we're about to talk about the specific thing which you studied in high school. You remember that the eligible students are the ones who only did sciences, biology, chemistry, and either math and physics, or you did the associate nursing program in Rwanda. So here you choose what you did. What was your combination? Let's say I did PCB, physics, chemistry, and biology. And then which year did you complete? You see that this is strict. It's strictly for 2025. For everybody else, it's only refugees who are allowed to apply if they graduated either in 2025 or 2024. And then for the rest of everybody else, the people with a bachelor's degree are going to come here and choose not applicable because I have a bachelor's degree. But if you don't have a bachelor's degree, you are a high school graduate, you just graduated fresh, just choose 2025. If you did not graduate in 2025, you are not eligible unless you're a refugee. If you're a refugee, you choose either 2025 or 2024. And then you come here. This is another interesting question, which is also tricky, and it's going to really get some people rejected. So are you currently enrolled at another university? Remember, you are not eligible to apply to this program if you are enrolled in another degree. By the time you say yes and you go on to, fill the information of where you are, just know that you're going to get rejected anyway, because note that transfer students from other universities are not eligible. UGHE does not allow applications of students who are currently enrolled in another program. So please, if you say yes and fill this, you are filling them at your own risk, but know that you're going to get rejected for your own information. So I would assume people applying here who are honest and are not in other programs are going to say no. If you say yes, it's okay, you're going to go here, fill all the information at your own risk. Okay. Of the college which you're going to, the country you're studying in, the degree you're pursuing, when you're graduating, this and this and this, which is going to really be useless. Okay. But again, there is a possibility that you might start this application. I'm going to put in, a quotation. There's a possibility that you might be doing, let's say, like an undergraduate degree, and you are graduating, let's say, in this month, in October, and you are starting the application. So by the time you come here and you specify that maybe I'm graduating on October 1st, 2025, they will see that you will be eligible to go to the school because you are going to finish exactly in 2025 and you can go. So for that one, if you're in a program and you're graduating sooner, it's okay. Say yes and fill this information. For the rest of everybody else, the answer is going to be no. We go down, okay? So do you have an A level or senior 6 passes? Here they're asking about your grade, the gradings, the grades. I suppose that if you're an international student and you are living here, I suppose that you have already gotten the equivalence. Yes, so you are going to say here on the first question they're asking about you remember that you need to have passed biology and chemistry. So do you have your A level or senior 6 passes? You can either say yes or no. So I'm assuming that most of the applicants are going to say yes on this. And what was the percentage which you had? This is applicable for the people who did their national exam in 2024 and 2025. This is exactly the people who studied in the Rwandan system. You can either say, maybe, let's say, like, got the 90%. You know what you got. You put it here, and you come down here. They're going to start asking you in biology, what did you get? Let's say I had a B. Remember, there is a maximum of an A and the minimum of a B for everybody else. And then for refugees are allowed to apply even if they had a C. But everybody else is just A and B. So please put in what you had, and then this is for biology, and then you come here and put in the specific percentage you had on biology. You can maybe, let's say, 75%. No. Let's say 90%. And then on chemistry, you could say what you had. Maybe I had a B, and then you come here and you put in the specific percentage of what you had. Okay. And then what was the third subject? It's either math or physics. Okay. You put it, let's say it's physics if I did PCB, and then you come here and you say what you scored in your third subject, which could be math or physics. Maybe let's say I had an A. And then you come here and you specify, the raw mark which you got according to NESA. And I'm assuming you have this if you really already have like your final grade report of the national exam results. And then you come on the employment part. So this is for everybody else. If you are a person who did not do, you are an international student, you will have to firstly get an equivalence of your grading system to the Rwandan grading system so that you get what to put in all of here, because you can't have it unless you got it from Irembo. Remember, check my other videos if you don't know how to really get the equivalence. You will do that from Irembo. It's a website called Irembo. Let me actually show you the website. It's irembo.com.ra. No, .gov.ra. I actually wrote the wrong one. irembo.gov.ra. So this is the website where you get the equivalence of your grading system. Please come here and put it in English if you can't speak in Rwanda, and then scroll and see what you need. Okay, let's continue. All right, and then you put in the employment system. If you have any employment information, you can say maybe I was employed, I was not employed. You can put it, if you were employed, you can put in how many years of experience. Maybe you worked for 1 year. Where is there a current organization you're working for? You can put it in here. Let's say maybe I'm working for the UN right now. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, that's just an example. Your position, and then the day you started working. And here you come and drop your you need at least 2 recommendation letters from your professor, the person who taught you in high school. And then you are going to drag them here. You can either click here and you open your you open your documents and put them there, or you can like drop them and put them here, the recommendation letter. And then here is the personal statement. Remember, the personal statement, you are here explaining why you want to be a doctor, and responses which are over the limit will be disqualified. So please remember, it's either 500 words or fewer. You don't have to write a lot of things. And they're watching on AI. They're watching on you. Don't go and tell ChatGPT to write for you an application statement and personal statement. Please just remember 500 words or fewer. If you don't know how to count words, just come here and say, I want to be a doctor because of this and this. As you see, they're showing you the amount of words. They're showing you here how many words you have. So watch your words. If they're 500, stop. If you're 500, stop. Edit your essay well, but make sure they are below 500 words. Remember, no AI, and Don't go over 500 words. And after here, you're going to come here down and you put in your ID. And if you are a person who is from the refugee, you can put in your refugee ID or asylum letter. And then for the people who are non-Rwandans, you can also put in your passports. And remember, expired passports are not acceptable. So please, if you have an expired passport, find another one before applying. And then here, you're going to come here and drag in your national exam or your equivalence certificate from our Irembo if you're international. If you're national, you're just going to put in your exam results. And then you come here below, and then you can attach your transcripts from university if you did an undergraduate degree, or your transcripts from high school if you did a high school degree. And if your primary language is not English, please, you're going to also you are going to remember that whatever documents you have, make sure they are notarized within an English translation, if that makes sense. Yes. Otherwise, you are going to come down here. You can read all this information because they're important about the disclaimer, and come and say yes to all of these things. By submitting this application, you are saying yes to all of these things and swearing that you are right. And then you click submit application. And that's going to be it. So let me know if you guys have any question. That's about it. But you can always go back to the application here and view your application, and that's going to be it. Thank you.